So we are talking about computer ports, their cables, and their connectors. In the past, we had several ports that we used to use. Like this parallel port, it was the main port for printers. If you wanted to connect a printer those days, this was the only place you could connect a printer. Today, because of USB, these ports are out of the system completely.
Are you having trouble setting up your computer? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Don't worry, take a deep breath. You already have everything you need, you just need to put it together. Today I'm going to show you step by step how to set up a desktop computer. First, you'll want to unpack everything from the box and remove any plastic covering or protective tape. Think about where you want your workspace to go and how you want the different components to be arranged. Now's the time to decide before you start plugging things in. Next, we're going to connect the monitor. If you have an all-in-one computer where everything is built in, for example an iMac, you can skip this step. Otherwise, locate your monitor cable, which should look something like this. It might be blue to make it easier to identify, or it might be a slightly different shape. It just depends. Now find the monitor port on the back of your computer case and plug the cable in. Most cables are designed to fit a certain way, so if it's not working, don't force it. Make sure you have the right one, then tighten the screws to fix it in place. When you're done, connect the other end to your monitor. Now it's time to plug in your keyboard and mouse. For your keyboard, take a look at the cable. If it has a round PS2 connector, plug it into the purple port on the back of the case. If it has a USB connector instead, you can use any of the ports you see here. The same goes for your mouse. If it has a light green PS2 connector, use the color-coded port. If it has a USB, plug it in here. You could also use the USB port on your keyboard if your keyboard has one. If you have a wireless mouse or keyboard, it's going to work a little differently. Some connect using technology that's built into your computer, others need an adapter. You may want to read the instructions that came with your wireless mouse or keyboard to find out how it works. At this point, you should plug in your speakers or headphones if you have some you want to use. Just look for the audio port on the front or back of your computer case. Many computers have color coding here too. The green port is for speakers or headphones. The blue port is what we call the line in, which can be used with other types of devices. Some speakers, headphones, and microphones have USB connectors instead of the usual audio plug. These can be plugged into any USB port. Finally, it's time to connect the power supply cables and plug the computer in. Your computer should have come with two of these. One goes with your monitor, and the other plugs into the back of your computer case. Now plug both cables into a surge protector. If you don't have one, you can plug the cables directly into the wall. However, this is not recommended. A power surge can damage your computer if it's not plugged into a surge protector. When you're ready, plug the surge protector into a regular outlet. If yours has a power switch, you may need to turn it on. That's all there is to it. Pretty simple, huh? It sure is. Now you can take a minute to make sure you're happy with your workspace, then turn your computer on.
Alright, good morning class. We are still continuing our studies and we've got into lesson 7. Lesson 7 talks about computer ports, cables, and connectors. For us to understand computers very well, we need to understand all the ports that are available in our computers. We need to be able to recognize all the cables we use to connect our computers and peripherals. We need to understand the names of all the connectors that are available. Are you with me? So what are computer ports? What are computer ports? Computer ports are the connection points or interfaces between a computer or computers and other external or internal devices. Computer ports are the connection points or interfaces between computers and other external or internal devices. Internal ports may connect devices such as the hard drive and CD or DVD drive. And external ports may connect devices such as modems, printers, mice, and more. We have come across a very important word in computer hardware and networking. This particular word here says interface. Interface. Most of the time when we are talking about ports or when we are reading about ports, we see the word interface. The reason is these ports are the interfaces between our computer system and peripherals that we want to connect. And so most of the time we are going to hear the word interface referring to the port where the connection takes place. When we are dealing with network cards, you will hear it being called network interface card, because that is where your network peripheral will interface with your computer system. So just keep that word in mind. Let me read a little about connectors. A connector is the part of a cable that is plugged into a port or interface to connect one device to another. A connector is the part of a cable that is plugged into a port or interface to connect one device to another. Listen, most connectors are either male, into bracket, containing one or more pins. Keep this in mind. Or female, containing holes in which a pin can be inserted. A male connector is sometimes referred to as a plug, and a female connector is referred to as a jack. So you are going to be hearing plug, and anytime you hear plug, it is a male connector like this. Anytime you hear jack, you hear this word a lot, jack, it is a female connector like this. So what is a connector? A connector is the tip or the end of a cable, and it is a part that is plugged into a port to connect one device to another. And so in the world of IT, we have so many ports, we have so many connectors. All these are ports and connectors. Most of them have gone out of the system, but a lot of them still remain. For example, this optical audio toslink, today because of advancement in technology, we don't use that much. USB-A is what is most common. That is the most common port or interface. USB-A or USB type A. USB type A. Today you learn that we have several types of USB ports. Now that USB type A, today we are going to also understand that it was released in version 1.0, 1.1, 2.0, and today we have 3.0, and we even have 3.1. This FireWire, we'll talk about FireWire port and this firewire port is actually getting out of the system. Now, in the past, we used to have several cables and several connectors. A time even came that creating cables and connectors became a competition for companies. And so every company wanted to have their own cable and connector. When you think about mobile phones, in the past, those of you who are a little older, you remember that every phone had a special charger. Nokia had its charger, Samsung had its charger, Ericsson had its charger, BlackBerry had its charger. All phones had chargers, and if you want to be able to charge several phones, you need to have several chargers. So many chargers. And so if you go to shops where they allow people to charge their phones, you'll be amazed. You will see that they have several chargers, different types. This is just an example. We have iPod charger, Samsung charger, LG charger, Samsung 20-pin, Nokia charger, Nokia 3.5 charger, PSP, Sony Ericsson charger. This is just a small example. But a time came that these ports became so many, and even there was a time that anytime a company like Nokia releases any phone, they will bring a different charger for that phone, a different pin. Alright, so this thing continued and continued and continued until the EU, European Union, had a meeting with all electronic companies and created a standard and made everyone aware that if you want to make a phone in the whole world, from now onwards, we are all going to stick to the micro USB connector. Have you seen the micro USB connector? This is what has become standardized. So today it is a regulation that if you make a device, this is the charger you are supposed to use. And this has solved a lot of problems because people had to buy different chargers. Not only that, to charge a phone was a problem. Today, because everything has been standardized, it is much easier to charge a phone because everyone uses the same charger or pin. Please are you with me? Good. Now the reasons, they have not come to mind right now, but there are a lot of issues that these different cables created. But today this is what has happened, and it is a standard in the whole world. So talking about computer ports and connectors, this was going on. It was going on, and so at first we had different ports, different ports, and today, because of the USB, most ports have gone out of the system. USB stands for what? USB stands for what? Who knows what it means? Yes. Universal Serial Bus. Are you with me? When we're learning about motherboard, we talked about buses, and we talked about serial and parallel. USB uses a serial technology, and USB is universal. Universal means what? It's general. So because of that, when USB came, a lot of ports are going out of the system. Like this parallel port, if you are here around early 2000s, this is what you will know as a printer port. Every printer uses the parallel port. But today, all printers uses USB. If you were here those days, keyboard and mouse used this port called a PS2 port. This was so common. It was so common that it is still on all our machines. PS2. One of them is green and one of them is purple. We'll find them soon. The green one is for mouse. This is the main mouse port. Let me tell you, no other device can be connected to this particular port. No other device. Only the mouse can be connected here. The keyboard one looks similar, but the color is purple. And so, because certain devices were designed for certain ports, it was only those devices that could be connected to those ports. But today, they have all followed the standard USB. And everyone is connecting through USB. Because of USB, today, we don't even use the PS2. And some people don't even know about PS2. But PS2 was so common. Alright, let's move on. These are all older ports I wanted to show you. These are all older ports. Some of the newer ports are also here. Like VGA port is actually old. It's getting out of the system. It's getting out. It was replaced by DVI first, and HDMI is now the main port for display or monitors. All right. Let's start our discussion with the USB port and connector. The USB port is a standard port for connecting several devices to the computer. It is a standard port for connecting several devices to the computer. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus, and it is the most popular interface used to connect a computer to devices such as digital cameras, printers, scanners, and external hard drives. USB is a cross-platform technology that is supported by most of the major operating systems. So USB is a cross-platform interface. This is how the type A connector looks like. The female one, and this is a male. So this is a port. This is a USB port. USB type A port, and this is a type A connector. Now this type A connector is very common, and you can see that this is what you have on your pen drives, right? Can you recognize it? This is what you have on your pen drive. Sometimes USB cables come with several types at the same time. This is USB type B micro. This is USB micro type B. We'll look at all of them. Now, it is important to recognize the versions and types of USB. USB ports and connectors come in versions such as 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. So, with the type A, I told you before that the type A was released in version 1.0, version 2.0, version 3.0. Now we even have 3.1. The reason is that when it started, it was improved upon, and so its data transfer speed has been improved. At first, if it would take you 60 seconds to transfer a 1 gigabyte file, today it will take you about 6 seconds if you are using the 3.0. The number of pins and the speed have all been improved. That is why we have different versions. Apart from that, we have different types When it comes to USB, apart from the versions, we have types like type A, type B, and type C. This is a famous type A. This USB is called USB type A or USB A, and I'm sure you've all seen this. Now, USB 3.0 or 3.0 is a third major version of the Universal Serial Bus Standard for interfacing computers and electronic devices. USB 3.0 has the new transfer rates referred to as super speed USB that can transfer data at up to 5 gigabits per second, which is about 10 times faster than the 2.0 standard. Regular USB 1.0 and 2.0 sockets have 4 pins, but USB 3.0 sockets have 9 pins, which improves the transfer rate and speed. Are you here? Sometimes when we are talking about speed, for example, when we are talking about internet speed, we measure it in bits. So we have kilobits, megabits, gigabits. So here you can see 5 gigabits per second. When we are measuring computer data, we measure in bytes: kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte. Are you here? Sometimes when we are measuring data rate or speed or data speed, especially when it comes to internet speed, we measure in bits. So we have gigabits, megabits, kilobits. All right, let's move on. Now the USB 2.0 and USB 3.0, let's look at some of the types. First of all, remember the logo or icon of USB. This is the logo of USB. Anytime you see this logo, what it tells you is what? USB. Don't forget this ever. This is USB. All right. Now, this one here is a USB type A female. USB type A what? This is a USB type A male. So even though I told you it's USB type A, it is a male. And the male is connected to what? The female. Sometimes the port itself is a female port because the male has to come in. Other times we have extensions. Hello. We have extensions of USB cables that the male is connected to just to make the cable longer. I think let me start showing you cables so that you get a clear picture of what we mean. Before the USB micro came, we had a USB mini USB charger, and that mini, I wish anyone had a phone. This charger, this connector here, this one, do you remember this? This one, who has some here? No, don't check your phone, because your phone, I told you that it has been standardized to the micro, but at first we had this. Oh, I think I have. Let me bring it. All right, so we are talking about computer ports, their cables, and their connectors. In the past, we had several ports that we used to use, like this parallel port. It was the main port for printers. If you wanted to connect a printer those days, this was the only place you could connect a printer. Serial port also connects to printers and other older peripherals. Today, because of USB, these ports are out of the system completely. No one uses the parallel ports today, and no one uses the serial ports today because of USB. And so most of the time, when you look at computers today, you realize that several USB ports are given. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 USB ports. Some machines will have more, even more than 4. Other machines will have some in front of the system unit. Now, the last time we learned that every connection to the computer system will be connected to the motherboard. We talked about that, right? Now, those ports in front of the case have cables where they are plugged onto the motherboard. So what you see in front of the computer case, inside the case there's a cable that will come and be plugged somewhere, and so they are still being connected to the motherboard. Someone will argue, okay, you said everything is connected to the motherboard. How about what we connect in front of the computer system unit? And what I'm telling you now is that even those ones come onto the board. That is just by the way. Now we are talking about USB, and this is the most popular USB connector. And this USB connector will be connected here. And what we are learning right now is that this connector is called USB type A male. Type A male. The port is definitely a female type because it needs to be inserted into it. Apart from that, we have USB type A female connectors that are also on the cable. Please, no noise. I'm recording. You know I'm recording. Please, I beg you. Okay. All right. So, as a technical person or as IT student, you need to learn the names of the USB connectors. This is USB type A male. This is USB type A what? Female. So we have this so that in case you want to connect to a printer and the cable is not long enough, you can take another one and join it to it so that the cable will be longer. Do you understand? Good. So sometimes they are on cables like this, extensions, and sometimes the port itself is a USB type A female. Now, using this same cable, let me show you this. This one here is a famous USB type B. Hello. This is a famous USB type B male. And this type B, the reason why I said it's famous is that this is the port designed behind our printers. All our printers make use of this port. So to connect to your printer, this is a part that goes into the printer, and this part goes into where? The computer system unit. Is that clear? So like the printers here, if you check all the printers here, you realize that the end of the USB cable that connects to them is the type B, and this end goes into the system unit or the computer. Now whenever you see this is USB. Maybe in your mind this is what you know as USB. This is also what? USB. Just that this is USB type B, and it's type B male. Are you with me? Excellent. Now we also have, when it comes to the type B, we have varieties of type B. After the main type B, they created this particular one here. Let me show on the PC as well. They created this particular one here, which is the mini. This is the mini A. So you can see that this one is actually the mini B. So let me just continue from where I was. When it comes to the type B, we have mini B. This is the mini. This is mini. And this mini was in the system for some time. Some devices use the mini until the micro came. The micro USB connector. So this is micro B. Micro B. When you say mini and micro is smaller than mini. So even though mini sounds small, micro is much smaller. So today on your phone chargers, this is what you find, and this is USB micro B. This is the micro. This is also B, but this one is mini. Are you with me? This is also B, but this is the main USB type B. So this is USB type B, this is type B mini, and this is type B micro. This is the type B mini, and type B micro. And most of them at the other end, they all give us the type A, because the type A is what goes into the computer. The computer doesn't use the type B. The computer uses the A, right? So at the end of this black cable, I have the type A. At the end of this white, guess what? I have the type A. At the end of the, so this is the micro, right? And when it comes to the mini, at the end of the mini, I also have the type A. Is that okay? Please, are you okay? Excellent, excellent. I like that. Now, what you also have to understand is that apart from USB 2.0, we have USB 3.0. So now I have a laptop here, and there's a port here. You should all recognize this port. Who can tell me the name of this port? What is the name of this port? This USB port. Is that okay? This is a USB port. So USB port, even if you don't know this is USB, you can see the USB logo next to it. So by seeing the USB logo, I know this is USB. Apart from that, I remember how USB looks like. But then today you've learned that this is type A. All right. Apart from that, listen to me. This one is the 2.0 USB port. And the 2.0 talks about the speed of the port. This is a 2.0 port. I'll connect my USB and no problem. 2.0. We'll read a little bit about the 2.0 and the 3.0 again. But this 2.0 is a little bit older than the 3.0. The 3.0 is a modern type. And so what they have done for you to be able to recognize it is this. Let me turn this laptop and you can see other ports here. The first one is also USB. But this USB is USB 3.0. 3.0. What difference can you see between this and the first one I showed you? What difference can you see? I don't think, sorry, I was pointing at the wrong thing. No, this is wrong. Please, I made a mistake. Not this. This one. If you see this USB, what you are seeing, this is not USB. This is HDMI. This is not USB. I wanted to point at this. I made a mistake. This one. What is the difference between this USB? I said the first one. What's the difference between this USB port and the first one I showed you? This is also female A. Is that okay? Look at this one very well. Just tell me any difference you identified. Look at this one and look at this one. What difference do you see? I'm talking about this. The sizes are the same. What do you see? Just tell me what you see. With the USB 3.0, one thing they've done for us to be able to recognize it is that inside this port, you can see that the pins inside is blue. You can see something blue inside, right? That is what tells me that this is the 3.0 and this is the older 2.0. The difference here is that this 3.0 is faster, much faster than the 2.0. Is that okay? Are you sure it's fine? Alright, so this is a 2.0 and that is a 3.0. Okay. Alright, now when you go to your device manager, you will see that you have 2.0 and you have 3.0. So later when we learn about device manager, you will see that when the machine is on, you can see all your ports and you can see that you have 2.0 and 3.0. Listen, this pen drive here, this pen drive, have you seen this? This pen drive was designed for 3.0 ports. This particular pen drive, if you connect it to a 2.0, it may not work. So if you have a machine and it has 2.0 and 3.0 and you connect this pen drive to the 2.0, you connect it 1,000 times, it won't show. Because this particular pen drive was designed for 3.0. So unless you locate a 3.0 port and connect this, it's not going to work. So there are certain devices, they are even designed for the 3.0 port. And so when you connect a USB and it's not working, sometimes you should ask yourself, is it a 2.0 or a 3.0 device?
So
and yes, okay, so generally, yes, generally they should, all pen drives should work in, or most pen drive should work in both the 2.0 and the 3.0, most of them. But there are certain devices or certain pen drives and other devices that are made specifically for the 3.0. But generally every USB should be able to be plugged in all of them. So even with this one, when you plug here, it's going to work. When you plug it here, sorry, it's going to enter into it. But in this machine, I'm very sure that when you plug it here, you can't see the pen drive. It's not going to show. It is only in the 3.0 that it will show, because this particular one, not all pen drives, this particular one was designed for a 3.0 port. What I want you to remember from what I have just explained to you is that when it comes to USB, I want you to remember this as USB type A. Remember this as USB type B. I want you to remember this as mini B. Mini B. And I want you to remember this popular one, which has been standardized for all phones today, as a micro B. Micro B. I told you that this is now the standard. If you make a phone, whether you are Sony or you are Ericsson, this is the charger you have to use. Is that okay? Excellent. So at least I know you remember USB type A, USB type B, and micro B and mini B. Please, these four, will you remember them? You have to remember these four. They are all USB. This is the only A, these three are all B. This is a B, this is a mini B, and this is micro B. In IT, you hear mini and micro. When we're learning about types of computers, you heard that we have some computers called mini computers. Then after mini computers, we have microcomputers. Micro computers are smaller than mini computers. Is that okay? All right. So now, apart from USB A and USB B, we've also learned about the 2.0, because the 2.0 is common. Almost all your machines are having 2.0. The 3.0 ones are the ones with the blue pin in it. So if you have a laptop or a desktop that is modern, you can see that inside the ports, some of them have blue color, and those ones are not on older machines. So on older system, you will not find the 3.0. They've just done it that way for you to recognize it. So if you look here, watch this. Even with this particular the pictures on this screen, you can see that there's something blue. The pin in it is blue, right? The inside is blue a little. Look at this. You can see that the inside is blue. This particular one is, watch this. Let me add this one. Now we all know that the type A goes into the computer. Now this is a 3.0 cable, and this one is a new cable, and what you are seeing here is amazing. This is the new 3.0 micro B. This one here is a new 3.0 micro B. Let me show you what it's used for. You see this external hard drive? It uses this one. Can you see this? This one is a USB 3.0 micro B. The normal micro B is what we all use on our phones, Android phones. This one here is a micro B 3.0, and it's a faster one designed for certain devices such as external hard drives. So this external hard drive, when you look at the cable that connects to it, this is how it looks like. Can you see? So this is a micro B. I've not seen any other device that uses this yet, but if you see this on any device, you have to recognize it. This is a 3.0 micro B. So far, I can't say that I've seen it on any other device yet, but it may be on other devices. But for me, I've only seen it on the external hard drive. Hello. Let me tell you, when USB came into the system, because it is universal, USB has taken the job of almost everything. Even today, audio is going USB. Even audio today is going USB. We have audio ports that uses USB. So USB is actually taking over everything, and so this is why we have some different types, and this is why we need to pay a little bit of attention to the USB. When the USB type A started, it came in 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and they are still working on it. Like I said, we have 3.1. IT is advancing, and so a time will come we may have 4.0. Are you with me? I told you about type A. I told you about type what? B. What I have not told you yet is the modern one, the new one. This is the best of the best USB. Modern, fresh, brand new USB connector in the world. And what you are seeing here that powers my machine or connected to my machine is what is about to take over all USB type A. This is going to take over all. The type A you see is going to go away. This is what you are going to see, and this is called USB-C. USB-C. USB what? C. USB-C. USB-C is a new USB connector, and it's going to change things. Now, the reason why USB-C is new and going to take over A, and A will get out of the system, is that when you take the A, just like the port on the system, you can see that where the pins are inside, there is a space at the top and the bottom is blocked, right? Please, can you see? There's a space at the top and the bottom is blocked. So anytime you are connecting your pen drive, you have to make sure that, or any device at all, please, not just pen drive, any device at all, you need to make sure that where the space is facing the top. And so if you don't do it that way, it won't go inside. If you turn it the other way, you will keep trying and trying, it will never go in. You need to turn it this way. And one thing that can help you, apart from knowing that where the spaces should face the top, is that some of them, they have some holes here. You can see that the back here is blocked. Can you see? Are you sure you can see? And inside here there's some hole, right? Okay, good. So where the holes are should face the top. So once you do that, you'll be able to plug it in every time and it will work every time. So when you take a pen drive like this, I don't see any holes, but I can look inside. I can look inside and I can see that the space is at the top, right? So that way it's going to work. But what has been happening is that most people try connecting, people who don't know what I just told you, they connect like this, it doesn't work. They connect like this, they make a mistake, they turn it again, it doesn't work. They realize that it's this before it works. So most of the time when someone is connecting USB, they turn like this, turn like this, turn like this, turn like this before it works. And I thought this was only happening in Ghana.
That's a one of will let me try and error method.
But not knowing this thing was happening in the whole world. Anytime people are connecting USB, because USB is now popular, and anytime people are connecting it, they suffer. So because of this turning, this is the only reason why they decided that we can't continue this. This is the only, or the main, if not the only reason why they decided not to continue with this, because turning it is a problem. So they created the brand new USB-C. With a USB-C, it doesn't matter how you turn it, it's going to go in straight. Are you here? Whether you turn it like this or like that. So you can see that it has been designed in a way that nothing blocks it. It looks a little bit smaller, but this is the modern USB connector that you should pay attention to. It's not yet popular in this part of the world, but it's coming. In America, everyone knows this. So when you look on this machine, you can see that this machine has USB-C. Have you seen it? Please, have you seen it? Let me show you something here. Do you see the machine I'm using here? This Mac. Do you see any port here? Do you see any port? Just one, right? For what? Audio. When I turn here, do you see any other port? It only gives you 2 ports. These 2 ports, what are they? USB-C. Just 2. I don't have Ethernet port. I don't have VGA port. I don't have HDMI port. I don't have USB type A. I don't have any other port. So if I want to connect anything, like if I want to connect this to a monitor or a projector, if I want to connect to Ethernet for networking, if I want to connect to anything, I don't have. This is a 2020 machine. When I bought this machine, it was the latest machine in the world. I bought it 2020. It was the best Apple computer and the brand new, the most modern Apple computer when they released it. I don't know if they've released a new one yet, but when they released this machine fresh last year, 2020, was when I bought this. It was the best machine in the world. And Look at the ports they give you. This is USB-C. USB-C. Please, are you here? USB-C. Now this USB-C, so this is a charger. So this is a charger that came with it. It gives you USB-C like this. This is Apple. So you can see. Okay, so when you see this port, I told you IT is advancing, right? So today where we are going, this is what you will be seeing. This is what you'll be seeing. So when you see this port, you should know that this is USB-C. Have you seen it? This is a modern one. What is coming to take over? The older one is going out of the system. Even though this older one is still around and will be around for some time, it is going out of the system and it has been discontinued. When we say something is discontinued, it means they are no longer making it. It may be on a new machine just for compatibility with older devices that you may want to connect to. So they may give you one or two. But what you are seeing here is what is new in the world. Have you seen it? This is USB-C. When you look on the screen, okay, I think you can't see. I'll let you see that. Now, because of that, I had to buy this adapter here. And this adapter has a USB-C and it gives me an extension to other ports. So I can have my VGA here, I can have my HDMI here, I can have my USB 3.0, have you seen it? Yes. And another USB-C. So what I'll do is that I connect this part to my USB-C and I'll be able to connect other things to the adapter. So like the projector, I'll connect it to the HDMI and immediately we see on the projector. Is that okay? So when you look on the projector now, you can see that this modern laptop here or notebook you are seeing here is having the new port, this new port, and this is how the cable looks. So this is what I showed you. On the screen you may think it's bigger, but that's what I showed. The size is the same worldwide. This is USB-C. Have you seen it? The modern USB-C, you can turn it anyhow you want and it's going to work. And what you are seeing here, USB-C, is going to be the modern USB that is going to take over the world. So in some few years to come, this is what we are all going to use. So just keep this in mind so that at least you'll be one of the first who knew about it. Let me read what is there. The new USB-C standard, USB-C, formerly known as USB Type-C. It is still Type-C, just that we've shortened it to USB-C. It's a 24-pin USB connector system which is distinguished by its twofold rotationally symmetrical connector. It is the newest type of USB technology designed to replace the old USB standards due to the fact that it can be rotated and connected in any direction. That is the point. Is that okay? When we start talking about VGA, we have to talk about DVI, and we have to talk about HDMI, and we have to talk about DisplayPort. So that is where we are going now. What you are seeing here is called, the name is DisplayPort. Not only does it allow display, it is called DisplayPort. This is the most popular port for monitors today. Even though the DisplayPort is somewhat newer, let me put it that way, HDMI is the most popular and the most used. HDMI. DVI is not that popular at all. VGA is still popular. Let's start with the VGA. These 4 ports and cables are designed for monitors or display. If you want display from your computer, if you want an output display, you need to use one of these ports. Hello. These ports are designed for display. And so whenever you see a graphics card, you are going to see these 4 ports or some of these 4 on your graphics card, because those are the 4 ports in the world that gives output display. Are you following? Or display output. VGA port and connector. VGA stands for Video Graphics Adapter or Video Graphics Array. It is a popular display standard developed by IBM and introduced in 1987. The primary function of a VGA port is to transmit the graphic data from a computer to a screen display or output, such as a monitor, television, projector. The VGA port uses a 15-pin connector. The VGA port uses a 15-pin connector. Even though VGA right now is 34 years old, because it was introduced in 1987, it is still around. On modern computers, you will not find VGA because they have actually decided to stop using VGA. But most computers still out there on the market and in the world still have the still have the VGA. Only brand new computers that are newly made do not have the VGA. So until the brand new computers take over the market and the world, we are still going to be dealing with VGA. VGA has been around for so long. It is one of the oldest ports and one of the ports that have been around for so many decades. We all remember the VGA, right? Hello. Do you remember the VGA? Will you recognize it when you see it? Excellent. Let me show you how the VGA looks like. Anytime you look behind your computer, you are going to see this blue port here. Anytime you look behind your system unit, you are going to see this blue port here. No one should tell you what this is. After this lesson, no one should tell you what this is. Are you with me? When you see this port, what is the name of this port? It is called VGA port. VGA stands for Video Graphics Adapter or Video Graphics Array. This is how the cable looks like, and this is how the connector looks like. Both ends are the same. And it can be interchanged and will work. Even though this cable is old, it's part of the old family, but it's still around. Are you with me? It is still around, so you still have to learn about it. With this cable, you need to connect it. You have to turn it the right way. If you turn it this way, it's not going to work. So when you try like this and it's not working, you try like that. then we usually screw this. So some people call the VGA port the monitor port, because it's for so many years that has been our monitor port. This is our cable, and this is a connector. Are you okay? The reason why I'm asking if you are okay is that you don't have to forget this. You can never ever forget this. Now, 98% of the time VGA is blue. Do you see color blue? 98% of the time it is blue. In just 2%, or with just the 2%, some of them may be black or white. But 98, when I say 98, you should know that most of the time is going to be blue. That is why what we have on the screen is what color? That is why what we have here is what color? When you turn any system unit and you look at the back, you are going to see a blue port. That blue port, don't forget, what is the name of the blue port? VGA port. Now, what does a VGA port do? What does it do? Okay, so it transmits display to monitors. It transmits display to monitors. Not just monitors as in your yes, it also goes to projectors and any display medium. When you look behind some televisions, you are going to see a VGA port. Yes, you are. If I want to connect my projector, you will see that VGA. And so when you pick a laptop, who has a laptop? Please let me have your laptop again. Now, over here you see that it's black, but this port is VGA port. VGA is VGA. Wherever you find it is VGA. Now, when you see a VGA port, what comes to your mind when you see a VGA port, especially on a laptop? What comes to your mind when you see a VGA port on a laptop? Display. Wait a minute. I thought a laptop had a screen. So why do we need VGA ports? Ah, I see. So if you have a laptop, you may want to connect to a projector, right? This is the only place you can connect. Well, this is where you have to connect, not the only. I'll talk about another one. So from here, it can go to a projector or an external monitor. If you have a laptop and you still want to see your display on a monitor, just put a monitor beside your laptop on the monitor and give it this. You are going to see two displays, one here, one there. You've never tried it? Just take a monitor, put it beside your laptop and connect this. You are going to get double display. Double. And this double display, sometimes we create it intentionally because sometimes we want to see our display in multiple folds for a reason. Hello, are you here? Sometimes when we set up multiple display, the system allows you to extend the display or duplicate the display. When you duplicate the display, it means you see one on one screen, you see one on one screen, and the same display is on a second screen. So whatever is happening here, you see it on a second screen. That's a duplicate. The extended display, what happens is that once you select extend, it will join that display to your laptop's display. And so sometimes, like this projector, I can do that. I can move something from this screen and drop it on this screen, so they become two screens. I can move something from here to there. Please, are you here? Have you seen what it's showing? This one says PC screen only. Have you seen this? when I connect an external display, one option says PC screen only, so I can only see on the PC screen. This one says duplicate. That's what is selected now. Do you see that that's what is selected? That means my projector and my PC screen, everything has been duplicated. So what I'm seeing here is what you are seeing on the projector, right? This one says what? Who can read this? Extend. This extend is what I'm talking about. When you extend display, what will happen is that the display here is going to be joined to the display here. So what I was showing you before, hello, what I was showing you before is here on my screen, but you cannot see. All the icons have moved to my screen, but you see the tag bar is still there. Watch this. I can move something to your screen from here, and it will show on your screen, and it has disappeared from my screen. I can bring it from your screen to my screen. Please, are you seeing this? I can open to something and send that thing to your screen and let you people watch. As a matter of fact, I can let you be watching this video whilst I'm using my computer. I don't know if anyone, let me get a witness. Please come here. Okay, so now watch this. On the monitor, what's happening on the monitor? And what is happening here? Okay, so we have the notes here and we have a video here. So I've extended my display. Usually graphic designers do this a lot. So when you do this, it's just like having a wide screen, and half of it is here and half is here. And this effect is very nice. Hello. This effect is very nice. This effect is very nice when you have two similar monitors. If you have two monitors that are similar and you join them together and you apply the extended effect and you put them next to each other, it is so nice. When you are using your machine, you can easily be working on one screen. When you want to move something to the next screen, you drop it in the next screen, you come back to this screen and you start working. Now what I have dropped onto the next screen, you see that I can even bring it. You see that half is disappearing. The half that is disappearing is appearing here. So it's just like this monitor is next to this. So if you put a monitor next to this one, you can see that you can move things from here and drop it here, move things here, drop it here. That's what is happening now. So now I brought it here and I can access it here. This is an extended display. Windows P, you press Windows P, then this option will show. I can duplicate. When I duplicate, it means it will share. This one says second screen only. When I use this option, oh, you can't even see, and I'm showing you. Let me duplicate. So now I've duplicated. Duplicate means what is showing here should be showing here. So most of the time when we are using projectors, we duplicate. It's possible to be using a projector with the extended option, and what will happen is that you can extend something and give it to the people to be watching whilst you are using the same computer and you are doing something else. That is the extended display. The last option is second screen only. When I use the second screen option, what will happen is that only the second screen will work. This one will go off. So we have PC screen only, second screen only, duplicate and extend. Is that okay? Now let me bring something that will explain this. Windows P, then these options will show. Let me bring something and show you. I've gone to bring two different display adapters and they do a very interesting job, and I'm happy I have all the two, and usually I like to have everything so that when I'm teaching I can show you. They are called splitters. They are called what? Splitters. They are called what? Can you see? I said they are called what? Splitters. Before we learn about when we learn about HDMI, we'll talk about the HDMI splitter. But now that we've learned about VGA, let's talk about the VGA splitter. This is a 4-port VGA splitter. Have you seen it? 4-port VGA splitter. What happens is that you have to provide your input onto this first one. Provide your input here. When you provide your input here, how many ports do you have here? How many ports do you see here? Please, when you provide this input, so we have 4 output ports. This is for VGA splitting. This is for VGA splitting. When I connect my, are you with me? Hello? Are you sure you are here? When I connect my VGA port here and I give this to my machine, my computer, whether my laptop or desktop, do you know what I have done? I have enabled 4 splitters here. These 4 are duplicates. What will happen is that, or what can happen is that 4 different monitors can be connected to this, and all the 4 will be showing the same thing. Have you seen that anywhere before?
Yes.
Even if it's no, you say yes. Let me tell you something. I'll go and bring another cable.
For instance, if you go to some supermarkets,
Exactly again. When you go to some TV shops and supermarket, you can see that all the screens are showing the same thing. This is exactly how they do it. The display is coming from one system and they have a splitter and all of them are showing the same thing. Have you been to some events and some churches where they have projectors even outside, and what is showing here is the same thing showing on all the screens? This is what they use. So the main machine receiving the output, whether it is live or recorded, is connected to this port, and all the other screens are connected to this. They will all get the same display. I'm sure we will demonstrate it for you to see. You can give 4 monitors the same. The last time we used this was at our graduation program. We wanted people to see what we are doing. So when we connected our monitor, when we fixed the computer there, we fixed the machine there, we connected this to the main machine and gave this to 4 screens. And we turn one screen to those facing here, turn the other screen to those facing here, turn the other screen to those facing here. 4. And so 4 screens can be showing the same thing. When you are playing a video, all the 4 screens will be playing the same video. This is called a splitter. Is that okay? Alright. But what we are interested in right now is the name of the port. What's the name of the port? VGA port. Excellent. Let's continue. Now, because VGA is very old, even before the modern technology came, they tried changing VGA several years ago. So they introduced a new port that was supposed to be better than VGA. Now, VGA is an analog port. We'll talk more about analog and digital. And so they created another port and cable called DVI. Hello. Don't forget this one too. DVI port and connector. DVI stands for Digital Visual Interface. Digital Visual what? Remember, a port is an interface. Are you with me? This particular port is called Digital Visual Interface. Now, visual means display, right? Visual. It's connected to display. So digital visual interface, DVI, is used to connect a video source such as a video display controller to a display device such as a computer monitor. It was developed with the intention of creating an industry standard for the transfer of digital video content, since VGA only transmits analog signals. The interface is designed to transmit uncompressed digital video and can be configured to support multiple modes. Wow. Such as DVI-A, analog only, DVI-D, digital only, and DVI-I, digital and analog. Watch this. There are some computers that do not have VGA, but only have DVI. When you come across a computer like that, don't be confused. Don't say, I don't see the display port, I don't see the monitor ports, I don't see. Don't spend 3 hours searching and disgrace yourself. When you see this, it does the same work. Just that this one is the DVI. DVI and VGA, they do the same job. This is our older port. We have another one called DVI. DVI was intended to transmit digital signal because VGA only transmits analog signals. And so when they were making this, they had high hopes, but DVI didn't stay long in the system and it is not popular at all. As a matter of fact, old VGA is still so much popular than our DVI. DVI didn't stay for long. Hello. You have to learn about DVI because there are some devices that you will see this. When you see this, don't be shocked. Remember how it looks like. Remember what it does. It is DVI and it's for display. Display means you can give it to a monitor, give it to a projector, or any display unit. Are you with me? Now, this DVI, we have 3 types. We have the DVI-A, DVI-D, and DVI-I. DVI-A transmits analog only, DVI-D transmits digital only, DVI-I is for both analog and digital. So sometimes when you see a DVI port or DVI cable, you may see that the pins are different in a way, but you will still recognize that it is DVI. Are you with me? When you see a DVI port, what is the function of the DVI port? What's the function of the DVI port? If you remember the function of HDMI port, it has the same function. What's the function of the DVI port? Excellent. Transmit video content or video to a display device, such as a monitor or a projector. Is that okay? All right. When you see this monitor, the ports behind this monitor, there are 2 of them. Can you see? There are 2 ports behind this monitor. Please, can you see? Do you recognize the blue one? Yes. What is the name of the blue one? VGA port. Now they made this monitor so that even if you don't have VGA and you have the second one, you can still connect to it. This is an old monitor. If it were to be a new monitor, you should be expecting HDMI. Since we can't find HDMI, we know that it's old. Now there's a second one. Have you seen the second one? Yes. Are you sure you can see the second one? Yes, sir. The white one here. You've all seen it, right? Yes. Okay. So this white one is called, it's not VDI. You said VDI is wrong. It's what? The white one is DVI. Have you seen it? DVI. DVI stands for what? Digital Visual Interface. And anytime you see it, you are going to see it connected to display, either on a monitor, on a projector. Watch this. Have you seen this? This cable is a DVI cable. It's a DVI cable. It's not that popular like the VGA. So you have to know that it's DVI, especially when you see that the pins here, one has separated itself and it's a dash over here. You can tell this is DVI. When you connect this one here, can you see? This is for display. So when they ask you to connect a machine and you can't find where to connect your display, and this is what you have, don't say that there is no display port. There is. Just that is DVI. Is that okay? All right, please, have you seen this monitor here? Have you seen this monitor? Are you sure you've seen this monitor? This monitor is so interesting that you can turn it this way and have access to the ports. How many ports do you recognize over here? You can't see. How many do you recognize? I didn't say how many ports are there. There are 6 ports. So how many do you know? You know 4.
Yes.
Okay. Which one? Mention. There's VGA. You are saying VDI again. There's VGA. There's what? DVI. You've seen the DVI. So you've seen the DVI. Okay. And which one?
The USB.
And the USB. Okay, good. So here, okay, so this is USB, and this USB, you can see the logo. Please, the camera, are you getting it well? You can see the USB logo, right? So even if you don't know it's USB, you can see the logo. The first one doesn't look like your normal USB, but it's still USB. The one here, what type of USB is that? Type B. USB type B. The logo here tells you it's USB. Can you see the logo? Can you see the logo? Here. That's USB logo. Can't you see the USB logo? It's very clear. Can you see the logo? Can you see? Okay, good. All right. Now, this is HDMI. Sorry, this is VGA. This is what? DVI. Over here we have an audio port, and here we have our power socket. So this is where we connect our power to. So definitely the monitor needs power, right? This is where you connect power to, and you either connect to VGA or DVI. For modern monitors, you are going to see HDMI, and that is the next one we are going to talk about. Is that okay, Francis? All right, let's move on to come again. Oh, that's an interesting question. She's asking, why did they provide both ports? Who can answer that question? Yes. Excellent. Listen to what Loretta said. Now she's asking a question, and she's asking that why did they provide 2 ports for display? And someone said, in case you have the VGA, you can use it. If you don't have the VGA and you have the DVI, you can also use it. Apart from that, there are some system units that come with only one. For example, there's a system unit, there's no VGA, only DVI. If there's a system unit that has only DVI, this monitor should be able to work with that system unit. And if there's a system unit that has only VGA, this monitor should still be able to work with that system unit. You don't have to go and buy another monitor. Is that okay? Right now, if we find a system with HDMI, this monitor cannot be used because this monitor does not provide HDMI. There is a system here which I'll be showing you. It has HDMI. Because of that, you can't connect it to something like this. You need a more modern monitor. So any monitor that provides HDMI is more modern than the older ones out there. Are you with me? Let's move to the next one. HDMI. Let me show you how the HDMI looks like, and then we will switch to the screen. Have you seen this? Please study this carefully. Look at this. Hello? Have you seen this? This port, you have to remember it the same way you remember your USB, and I told you to remember the new USB, which is USB-C. This one, you have to remember it because this is the most popular port for display. This port is so much better than this in every way, and so much better than this one in every way. This and that are very, very old, and they are no longer being made. These two are no longer being made. The decision has been made. No one is making this anymore. It is still around because we have millions of computers in the system that still use them, but brand new machines that are being made, they don't make this anymore. What they are making is this. Next time when you see this, you should know that this is for display. This is for display. Now we've learned about 3 ports for display. When you see any of them, you should think of connecting to an external display, either monitor, projector, or any other display source. Can I see the laptop again? What is the name of this port? HDMI. Please don't forget it. Remember it like your name. HDMI. This laptop here, I can see this port here, and I know that this port is called what? VGA port. And what it means is that I can connect this laptop to any display, either a second monitor or a projector, right? I can also see this. When I see this port, I have to recognize it. What is the name of this port? This HDMI. And this HDMI needs an HDMI cable like this. This is how the connector looks like. Have you seen this? Very powerful one. And it goes in here straight. And what this one transmits is high quality display. This one is for display, but this one cannot be compared to the kind of display that HDMI will transmit. HDMI transmits high quality display, and that brings us to the name of HDMI itself. Let's turn to the screen and read. HDMI stands for High Definition Multimedia Interface. When it comes to videos in IT, we use the term HD. When you hear HD, the impression it gives is high quality. Anything in HD means high quality, but it stands for high definition. When they show you a video and they tell you the video is HD, that means it is quality. Hello. Sometimes you may be watching a video and you can switch, even on YouTube, you can switch your video to HD and the display will be sharp, quality. They say that this camera is an HD camera. That means the video it captures is in high quality. It's not like the older cameras that the video is so poor, the quality is so poor. High definition videos. And being HD also occupies more space. Just a 1 minute video can be 1 gigabyte. Later I will talk more about videos. Now we have 4K videos, and 4K videos are just, the quality is crazy, like beyond the charts, like serious. 4K. When you watch a 4K video, it looks more quality than reality. What your eye can see as nice, or the quality your eye sees, your natural eye sees, 4K is more sharper than what your eye sees. So there are some screens, when you are watching them, the kind of quality you see on the screen is more quality than reality. For HD, I'll not give it that. I'll not say HD is more quality than reality, but 4K is definitely more quality than reality. But if you want your display to be sharp, this is a cable you need to use. If you have a good graphics card and you give it VGA, you will still get a poor display, because this cannot transmit high quality video. HDMI is what is ruling the world now in terms of video display or video transmission. All right, listen. The function of the HDMI ports is the same as the VGA and DVI ports. That is to transmit the graphic data from the computer to a screen display, a screen or display. Listen, however, HDMI is capable of transmitting media with HD quality, that's high definition quality, and can also transmit audio signals through the same cable. HDMI supports all types of multimedia devices. So this particular cable and connector is the modern one. This is how the port looks like. It has taken over DVI. DVI didn't stay for long. VGA stayed for long, but VGA has been discontinued. Now all modern machines are having this one here called what? HDMI port. I don't want you to struggle in recognizing HDMI. I don't want you to do what? You have to remember this. Hello. You have to remember this. So I'm going to show you some cables and I'm going to ask you the names. When you see the cable, you should tell me what type of cable. When I ask you what type of cable is this, you should tell me. Please, will you remember this? This is how the connector looks like. Look at how the shape is. And this is a port. Remember this port. Anytime they show you this port anywhere, you should know that it's HDMI. Most of the time they will write the HDMI next to the port somewhere. They will write it somewhere. But even if it's not written, when you see this port, no one should tell you that this is HDMI. I think in this picture it has turned upside down, so you may not see it well. Usually this side is on top. It's turned the other way around. So this is how it's supposed to look. Have you seen this? When you see this, what is it? What is the name of the port? Even if the name is not written, can you recognize this port? It's called what? HDMI port. Now, from VGA, they move to DVI. From DVI, they move to what? HDMI. And they try to upgrade HDMI. But the next one they made hasn't taken over the system, or is not that popular. Okay, let's watch this. The next one here is called what? DisplayPort, right? DisplayPort is a digital display interface developed by a consortium of PC and chip manufacturers and standardized by the Video Electronics Standards Association (VESA). The interface is primarily used to connect a video source to a display device such as a computer monitor, and can also carry audio just like HDMI, as well as other forms of data. DisplayPort was designed to replace VGA, DVI, and FPD link. So it was not targeted directly at HDMI, but it is there to replace all the ones we've talked about. Later we may come across this FPD link, but these are the two that are widely known. Now, this DisplayPort has not been able to take over the market like HDMI. It has been around for some time. Some machines will have the DisplayPort, but HDMI is the most popular. With the DisplayPort, only one of the four corners is cut like this. So when you look at the connector here too, you see that only one side is cut, and this is the logo. So when you see this, you need to recognize it, and inside here you can see that there is the shape here of where the pins are. It's like this. You can see the shape, right? All right. So these four ports all serve the same purpose. The most popular of them is this one here called, but they all serve the same purpose. Wherever you see them, you have to know that they all do the same thing, and it is only one of them that you need to use. Hello. Anytime you see any graphics card, we've talked about graphics card, right? Now this graphics card is actually an old type or a small type. Most graphics cards have heat sinks and they look bigger and they look nicer than this. Anytime you look behind a graphics card, you are supposed to find any of these four ports. Either 2, 3, 1, or all the four, but these are the four ports you should expect. Over here I can see two of them. What is the name of this one? This is a DVI port. Please, have you seen this? This is a DVI port. And who can recognize this one? This HDMI. It's not USB. This HDMI. HDMI and DVI, which of them is more powerful? HDMI. So if it is HDMI, it's supposed to receive this cable. This cable is which cable? If I connect it and it works, then it is HDMI. Did it work? That's an HDMI port. Because of that, this tells me that this is a graphics card. Any graphics card you find, when you check the ports here, you should expect HDMI. If you don't see HDMI, you should expect DVI or VGA. But any graphics card with DVI and VGA is an old type. Some of them may give you 1 DVI and 2 or more HDMI. But for VGA, it's hard to find VGA on graphics card. Any graphics card with VGA is really old. Really old. Okay, now these 4 ports we've just talked about, please, you can never ever forget them because they allow you to get outputs for display or display outputs. Are you with me?
All peripherals need a way to connect to a computer, so let's take a look at the different types of ports and connectors. First is the most common of all, USB. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus, and it's a type of connector found not only on computer peripherals, but on gaming consoles, TVs, DVDs, and Blu-ray players, car audio systems. USB is nearly everywhere. When you see a port that looks like this on the back of a computer, regardless of the color, that's a USB port. It's worth mentioning that the USB port on the device that you want to connect to might look different from this. There are actually a number of different types of USB connectors. Here's a quick look at some of them. One of the bummers about all of these USB connectors is that if you try to plug them in upside down, they won't work. This is why the newest version of USB, called USB-C, is a very welcome change. It's reversible, so it doesn't matter which way you plug it in. Another significant port on the back of a computer is the Ethernet port. The Ethernet port allows you to plug in an Ethernet cable, which can connect your computer to a network and to the internet. Now, to connect your computer to a monitor, there are several possibilities. For many years, the 15-pin VGA port was the standard, and you'll still sometimes see it in use today on old computers and projectors. This type of connector, however, is limited in terms of the screen resolution and the quality that it can support, which is something we'll talk more about later. But for this reason, it's generally not found on new products anymore. Next is the DVI port, which comes in a few different variations, some of which suffer from the same limitations as the VGA connector. For this reason, this type of connector is also becoming less common. By far the most common connector for connecting a display, whether it's a computer monitor or a widescreen TV, is an HDMI port. HDMI is fully digital and it supports high-resolution displays and can also carry audio. You'll find HDMI ports on just about every new TV and computer monitor these days. HDMI cables and connectors come in a few different sizes in order to accommodate different size devices. The final video connector we'll look at is called DisplayPort. DisplayPort isn't as common as HDMI, but hopefully it will be because it's actually better in a couple of ways, supporting even higher resolutions and frame rates. DisplayPort comes in 2 sizes, and if you're a Mac user, you'll probably recognize the smaller of the two, called Mini DisplayPort. Speaking of Macs, it's worth noting that the Mini DisplayPort on newer Macs is also a Thunderbolt port, which is indicated by the little lightning bolt symbol. Thunderbolt is a type of connection created by Apple that is very high speed and allows you to connect many devices to just one port. Turning to audio, we've got our standard 3.5mm headphone jack and a 3.5mm audio input jack. It's worth noting that many audio devices are equipped with USB connectors, so these two aren't always necessary. Some computers, like this one, also have an integrated SD card reader, which can make it easier to copy photos from a digital camera to your computer. Some devices can be connected to your computer without having to use any sort of cable at all. The most common way to connect devices wirelessly to your computer is to use Bluetooth. A Bluetooth device uses radio waves instead of wires or cables, and there are many devices that support Bluetooth, including cell phones, headsets, keyboards, mice, portable speakers, car audio systems, and more. Bluetooth typically has a range of about 30 feet, so your devices have to be somewhat close together in order to stay connected. Finally, there's the wireless connection that you're probably already familiar with, Wi-Fi. You can think of Wi-Fi like a wireless version of an Ethernet cable. Its primary purpose is to connect computers, and some other devices like phones and tablets, to networks and to the internet. Unlike Bluetooth, which allows devices to connect directly to one another, Wi-Fi uses a wireless router that all of the different devices then connect to in order to communicate with one another. This results in greater wireless range, especially if you have more than one router, and much faster data transfer speeds. But it's all dependent on having the wireless router. For this reason, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth serve very different purposes. Wi-Fi is used to connect devices to networks and to the internet, and Bluetooth is used to connect devices directly to a variety of peripherals. This concludes our discussion of ports and connections. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you have a better idea of the different ways that devices can connect to one another.
Alright, so I want to thank you for joining us in this class. We are still learning computer hardware. We are done with the components and now we are talking about the ports and the cables. I want you to join us next time because we are not done. We will still talk about other cables and we have a whole lot to learn. If you want to get more lessons like this, I want you to subscribe to this channel, like this video and share with your friends. Until I see you next time, goodbye for now and stay blessed. Bye.